Welcome to the Other 99% podcast. I'm your host, Lisa Duck, a coffee-loving direct sales enthusiast who's obsessed with a good digital system. Come join me for a realistic look into the world of direct sales. We'll explore inspiring perspectives, learn about unique business tips, and celebrate success stories that often go untold. Because on the Other 99%, every seller matters. Hey everyone, it is me, Lisa, and welcome back to the podcast. I'm so excited today. I have a friend of mine, Diane, that I recently met through Facebook. I was hosting one of my free Canva workshops, and she put her faith in me and joined me on the workshop, and we've connected. And I've asked her to come and be a part of the podcast and share her story. So I'm going to jump over to you, Diane. Can you share a little bit about who you are and your sort of your direct sales journey and how you came to know direct sales and all that stuff?
Excellent. I am so excited to be here. And it's funny, it's my first podcast. So I'm excited about this. And thanks a lot, Lisa, for this opportunity. Yes, we connected for sure, just by me not being that techie person and needing some help. And boy, oh boy, I'm so glad I found you. So here I am doing a podcast. Who knew, right? So a little bit about me. I am actually 75, just turned 75. And I have been in sales of some sort most of my life, of my career kind of thing. But I'm going to go back and just sort of talk about the family. So I've been married for 44 years. We have two, I'd say children, but they are 37 and 40. So they're kind of young adults now. And interesting enough, they're both are entrepreneurs. So our son is a tattoo artist in Port Perry, and our daughter is in Bracebridge, and she's a personal trainer and a fitness instructor. She
Awesome.
actually won gold in Baton many, many moons ago. So in Marseille, France.
I bet they're going to be excited to hear you on this podcast. You'll
Oh,
have to share it with
for
them.
sure. Yes, yes. It was interesting because in the US, they're so very much Baton. And initially, her and her partner were there doing it, and they didn't know what to do. Anyway, they went another 3 years and they won gold. So Canada, it was our first gold for Canada. So we were very proud. And so that's a little bit about the family. We have a fur baby, and her name is Lila. And she loves to walk. She loves to be cuddled. And my husband does the walking and I do the cuddling. So we enjoy her. So that's a little bit about the family. Oh, and we have two grandsons. So one is 13 and one 17. So I started working at Canada Post. And little did I know anything about pensions or anything, but I was started there as an admin. Because of my age, at that time, people were not into going to university. At least the women weren't, the guys were, right? So it was very much a different field. Starting at Canada Post, I was the first female ever to work there. In fact, my grandmother before that was in the cafeteria, but as far as the offices areas. So they first started the marketing, sales and marketing. So I started as an admin. And I kept trying to work my way up because I've always was passionate and worked hard and everything. I always had to work harder than any guy around simply because I was female. And as much as I tried to get ahead, it just wasn't happening. So I went back to school and worked at night and took marketing management. Even then, it was hard, but they then admitted it was a case of they didn't want me to leave. I was doing a good job. I was looking after everything. I was doing too good of a job. Anyway, that was the start of my career in management. I will fast forward because at 37 and a half years, and I ended up as director of sales with a team, retired at 57. So I could have retired at 55. I took on an extra job for the last 2 years, and it was because of my relationship building that I took that task. So from there, I ended up, with being retired, I didn't know what to do with myself. I was 3 years in going to the fridge because I was bored. I did go to the gym, but I didn't really have too much to do. So I ended up from there after 3 years. A friend was around, and we'll talk a little bit about that. I'm going to sort of fast forward a little bit of it. But I've been retired now for 18 years. So I retired in 2006. So quite a bit of time. I got into direct sales though, after that 3 years, and I spent about 7 years in the weight loss industry. And after that, I found my home, and that's when I found Senegence. So I had met the girl who kept following her, but this time I wasn't going to follow without doing a lot of research because so many people jump and jump and jump, and I'm not a quitter. So I found Senegence, and just to give you an idea of what Senegence is all about, it's has an entire line of long-lasting liquid lip color, unlike anything else in the industry. In fact, Senegence was the first company to have a lipstick that stayed on, and that goes back to 1999.
Wow.
And that was the beginning of the entire line of long-lasting cosmetics and revolutionary anti-aging skin care products. And we're now an essential service with body care, spa products, and we recently introduced a wellness line. So if you have aches and pains or you have trouble sleeping, we have now essential oils that will help with that. So
Oh. See, I didn't know that. That's good to know.
yeah,
So, what made you choose direct sales? Like when you were introduced, so you said you did a lot of research in switching from the weight loss industry into Senegence. So, what made you choose Senegence? Like, what stood out to you?
there were a number of things. When I knew what I didn't want and I knew what I was looking for. And the one thing that I was looking for, like really looking for, was sisterhood. And it was having people who really worked and gelled together. And the ones that I was at, there were a lot of more male type people, and they were very much, you were kind of cornered of what you could do and couldn't do. Whereas, so there was that. And there was, I always used skincare and I always wore makeup. So I thought, worst case scenario, I get that for at a discount. And I was always wanting to give back and to help people. So it was always to that, as far as the caring for people and introducing people to a line that is really good. And when I did research it, it was the whole anti-aging, of course, my age, so I researched it to death.
Hmm.
And um and then when I started, I was a product of the product. And lo and behold, you look younger than you did when you first started. So it was that was the bonus, but the sisterhood is like no other. Like I just found it to be my home, and it's definitely, you have leaders helping you. They're coming everywhere, helping you doing things, and it's just I can't say enough about it. It's just sort of one of those things. Yeah.
And that's what a true direct sales company is,
Yes.
and
Yes. Yeah.
that's, yeah, that's when like you said, you found your home. And just
Yeah.
so that the listeners know, Diane, you definitely do not look 75. So that speaks for your products for sure. So
Mhm.
definitely I would encourage the listeners, if you haven't heard of Senegence, seek out Diane and get some information on it, because
Mhm.
I have tried a few of the products and they have really some awesome products out there. So, all right. So I know that you love to talk to people. Like you are a people person. So
Mhm.
just curious, like how are you currently running your business? Do you do virtual, in person, both? Like what's your jam?
My jam is in person, absolutely in person. I mean, you always had that online portion,
Hmm.
but in person is what I do. And I do workshops, and that's what I love doing the most. I have people at my home, I have everything set up at home, and people come in and I do makeup workshops. So whether it's how to hide a dark under eye or how to tight line for a hooded eye, or I just did a makeover yesterday for a girl who's going for an award, and there's all the different things. She said, oh my goodness, I got zits all of a sudden. I said, do not worry, I can cover it up. So, you know, I have improved with my own makeup with because of doing it, right? So, and I love helping people feel beautiful inside and out because it gives them that confidence. And the other thing I do in person is I have a friend who's a fashion stylist, and I love giving back. I always have.
Mhm.
And there's a whole bunch of things I did with her, but this portion of it is I do the makeup for the models. So she designs the clothes, and there's models that volunteer, there's photographers that volunteer, and I volunteer. And so we are a team, and we'll go do fashion shows, and they whatever dress is sold, 20% goes to women's shelter.
Awesome.
So it's one of those things that, we all enjoy. In fact, I
Mhm.
have some models on my team because I do it and they like fall in love, right? So I
Yeah.
do have the models on my team, yeah. So I do that kind of thing. I do events too. So I'm going to be at Rib Fest. I'm going to be I'm going to the Brooklyn Fair, things like that. And I find that's where I find other people that might be interested in joining. They
Hmm.
see me out and about and doing whatever. Now, if I talk going from the standpoint of online, when COVID hit, we were told because we'd already doing online, we were able to move to online,
Hmm.
and do it even more. But that's where I found I needed you, Lisa, because every time they would save something, it's okay, we're going to put a template into Canva. And I'm like, oh gosh, I got to learn Canva, you know. So, and of course, you're helping me, which is really good. So, I'm not afraid of hard work, and I think I've always had that work ethic right from the day one. So I could see myself in a cane still doing makeup for people because I've been doing I'm a makeup artist, so I got my certification for the company,
Hmm.
and I've got a number of certifications. In fact, recently got certified for color theory, which is
Oh,
really interesting because and I used it when I was doing the makeover yesterday, which was really interesting. And then I've done my Skin, which is all about the skincare, and I've done my Elite, which is more theater makeup and whatnot. Now they have an Ultra where you do all three in 1 year. So guess who put their hand up? Why? So it's one of those things that if you push yourself, you'll do way more than you would if you didn't, right?
yeah.
So looking for models, always looking for models.
So where
And
are you, Diane? Just so that people know if they're listening.
I am in Pickering, Ontario. Yeah.
Okay. And
And
that's
yeah,
in Canada for our
everybody.
US
In
listeners.
Canada. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, Canada. Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
awesome. So here's a fun fact that you probably don't know about me. So I am actually a certified makeup artist too.
Oh, good.
I started out in Mary Kay, and I had a long stint of my business where I was doing wedding makeup. So yeah,
Very
so
good.
that's what
Very good.
a lot of the listeners probably don't know about me. But
Yeah, that's
you
wonderful.
wouldn't know I a makeup artist or anything like that because I don't often wear makeup, but
That's why we connected, right?
yeah, exactly.
It's funny how you have these connections and things. And I always find with people is that it's asking questions and getting to know them kind of thing, right? As
Hmm.
opposed to some people in sales just want to sell,
Hmm.
where it's, if there's anything, whatever people do,
Yeah, for
down to
sure.
yeah.
Now, I know that you just got back from your seminar. I think that's what they call it, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah. So, and I know that you received some sort of achievement there, and I'm thinking that this might be one of your proudest moments in your business. So, I just want you to share a little bit with the listeners what's one of your proudest moments, or a couple of your proudest moments, whatever you want to share.
Well, yeah, for sure it is. So I'll do a little bit of a backup to it. I always, because I'm all in on anything I do, I went to every corporate event, which is in Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's where our founder is. So I mean, I even went on my own at times. And I was always in awe looking at these women, girls, ladies, um, up there in their gowns, getting all these awards and all the things. Well, now I'm one of them. So
Hmm.
now I am up there. I was at lead when I was at leaders uh, event. I was up on stage 7 times.
Wow.
This time is seminar, and they gear to different things depending on the leaders versus seminar. Seminar is our largest one, and I was recognized for and I'm going on a trip to Puerto Vallarta, and it's a royalty leadership retreat, and it was because of sales. So I was top 10 in Canada. So
Wow.
yeah,
Congratulations.
yeah. And we'll be with all the other leaders. That's what I'm looking forward to because now it's a top 10 sales, top 10 sponsoring for every country. It's,
Hmm.
you know, it's going to be New Zealand, Australia, Mexico, Canada. Like, so it's going to be good. Can't
Awesome.
wait. Yeah,
So I'm just curious, do you consider that you have a superpower in your business? Like, what is your superpower?
for sure. And it's been my whole life. They used to call me Mother Teresa at work. So, um, customer service, like taking care of people, looking after. And it's just, I love to serve. And it's just sort of a natural thing for me. And I think that's why the relationship building and it comes easy to me
Hmm.
because I get to know the people, you know. An example is every time somebody gets an order from me, they get a gift. There's a little gift in there. Nothing, not necessarily a big gift, but a little gift in there.
Hmm.
And whether they're part of my team or they're a customer, I definitely look after them, for sure, and they're always saying that. So they're customers, but they're friends, so they've become friends. And that's kind of just how I operate. Yeah.
And do you think that your customer care, like, do you do a lot of it through email, phone, text? How do you do it?
Everything. We use Messenger a lot.
Okay.
I find sometimes, I mean, because we have in person because we do the workshops and stuff like that. But the Facebook, sometimes people don't always see you. So
Mhm.
sometimes we go into Messenger and do chats and things like that. But in person too, like a lot of people, I personally deliver people who are local,
Okay.
and I still do. I still do. And so we participate in mega parties. Well, a mega party, I can do a route now because everybody's in the mega party and sort of, kind of know where I'm going to go. I just plan a day and I do deliveries sort of thing.
Hmm.
Some people may say, well, geez, maybe you shouldn't. It's my thing, you
But
know?
I was just gonna say, if that's your thing, that's your
Yeah.
thing. Yeah,
Yeah.
definitely.
The other thing
Awesome.
is I'm an area leader now too.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
So we do that too.
Yeah.
So I do have where we have other distributors, and then
Hmm.
we always invite guests and stuff too. So we do,
So
yeah,
like group workshops for your team and stuff like that to bring in. Yeah.
right. Yeah,
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 that's
yeah.
awesome. Yeah, because then it's a great way for you to help newer
Hmm.
consultants introduce different things to their customer base. I love that.
Oh, for sure. And then I've just been asked to train at our Canadian event. So I'm training
Oh.
on two subjects. So as you move up, it's like, oh dear.
Well,
Our
I'm sure
presentation again.
you're gonna do amazing, amazing. So yeah. Well, I know that I prepped you for this one because it sometimes throws people off, but I want you to share a quote or like words of advice that you've heard over your years in the direct sales field or even like in your career that you think that everyone needs to hear.
There are two instead of one, if that's okay.
Yeah, that's perfect.
I live by these. And one is you can control the activity, you can't control the outcome. And so many times people, they get discouraged or anything like that. And as long as you can control the activity and sort of take the emotion out of the outcome, it will come. So you sort of do that. And the second one is confidence is contagious, even if you have to fake it. It's, the confidence it builds, and then the people around you are confident, So it's two of my things that I kind of every once in a while, okay, can't control that, let
Yeah.
it go, kind of,
Yeah.
things that you think are going to work out and then they don't, right?
Hmm.
But you've done the activity and it's just they're two that I mean, there's so many of them, but those are two that I live by myself.
I love that. And you want to know something? I always know which ones are good and gonna stick in my brain
Yeah.
because I get the goosebumps.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh,
And yeah, I got goosebumps. So
good. Good,
those
good,
are
good, good.
awesome.
Good.
All right. Now, where can people find you if they're looking for you?
Okay, so I can give you my Facebook group, but I can also give you my cell because you can text me.
Okay.
It's 416-709-9194. And my customer group is Stays All Day Diva because everything
Awesome.
stays all day.
All right. Well, I'll link those in the show notes so people can find them easy if they can't write it down fast enough.
Yeah.
Because I find that most people listen to podcasts when they're driving in their cars or
Yeah.
doing something on the side. So they may not have a pen and paper handy, but I'll make sure that I link to those. So I just want to thank you so much, Diane. I really appreciate you taking the time to share with the listeners. And I know that they're going to have so many little nuggets to take away with them. But I want to thank everyone for listening. And we will see you on the other 99% podcast. We'll talk to you guys soon. Take
Thank
care.
you. Thanks, Lisa.
Hey, thanks so much for taking the time to listen to the podcast. I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you would take a minute to rate and review the podcast, I would absolutely love it. And if you know someone who really needs to hear this podcast, please feel free to share it with them. More listeners, the better. And if you know someone who would like to be a guest on the podcast, or you yourself would like to be a guest, be sure to check the link in the show notes or visit lisaduck.com and click Be a Guest. We'll talk to you soon.